In this NVivo 15 for Mac video, we're going to talk about text search queries and why you would do them and how you would generate one inside of NVivo 15. So first, why would you do a text search query? Well, I use them for two main reasons. One, if I have a really large data set, I may not be able to really quickly put my hands on the particular set of field notes or the particular transcript that mentioned a particular topic. So all I need to do is to type in the word. For instance, if the kids were talking about pumpkins on a particular day and I wanted to find that set of field notes, I would just type in the word pumpkin. It's going to come up with all the files that have the word pumpkin in them, and I can quickly choose the one that I'm looking for. The second way I use text search queries is to do a preliminary search of the data for a particular important word that gives me an idea of how you might begin to generate a code for that word. This is before you've coded all the files by hand. So that's how we're going to do this to begin with. So I'm going to come up to the Explore tab, choose Text Search Query. You get this box. You can tell the program where you want to search in all the files or externals or in selected items. I'm going to choose all the files or externals. And so I'm going to type in the word draw, but I also want to get the stemmed words like drawing and draws. So I'm going to click that button, include stemmed words, for example, talking. But I also want to get the past tense drew. So I'm going to use a Boolean operator. I can type in all caps or, and then drew. I could also find the Boolean operators under this little special menu that drops down here. So when I've got my search criteria the way I want them here, draw or drew with including stemmed words, I'm going to run the query. And you immediately see in the summary all the files that will meet those criteria. They'll have an entry, a word for draw, drawing, draws, drew. And I can see the references by clicking on the Reference tab. And here's date of drawing, draws the grass, draws the strawberry. There's draw pictures, draw pictures. So I have a place to start to look at all the places where the families have talked about drawing. Now I could decide that I wanted to save these results as a code, and if I wanted to do that, that it's going to go into my code hierarchy, I would say Save Results, and it says Create Results as a new code. And then notice, however, the location is currently at Query Results, which is the default, which would be over here in Navigation View. But instead, I want to save it in my coding hierarchy, so I'm going to click this little right arrow in the circle, and I'm going to open the codes, click on that, and select it. So now you see the location will be codes. I'm going to give it a title, and I always suggest when you're creating query search and you're going to create it as a code to name it in a way so that you know it was created mechanically and needs to be examined. So I'm going to call this the draw search. And I'm going to, in the description, say it was a text search query. Draw, drew, and ing. That just reminds me what I've done here. I'm going to save the results. Now, we see here's my draw search code. We should be looking the codes and find it there, and there it is. It's left there. Now, if I wanted to clean this up and decide, do I really want to keep all of these items, I may need more context than I have here. So I'm going to examine each one and decide whether they belong. And to do that, I may need to go to the original file, so I can click on the blue link and look, yeah. And so this is actually where I have actually coded the date of a drawing. It really doesn't, I don't think, belong in that code. So I'm going to go back to my draw search code. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to control click, and then I'm going to uncode the selection from this code. And I can remove it. So I can clean up as I go. Another way to, if I need to see more context, is to highlight the section and control click, and I can spread the coding to either a narrow context, which would be 5 words before and after the target word, or to a broad context, which is the whole paragraph. So if you wanted to see a broader context for the word draw, here I just have, we had one child draw a picture of what she. If you'd like to see a little more than that, of course you can go back to the original file as we just did, or you can highlight that section, control click, and you can spread coding to the broad context, which should be the whole paragraph. So now you see we had one child draw a picture, and you get the whole paragraph there. And when you spread the coding, this whole chunk should continue to be connected to this particular node. One thing to be aware of is that if you save your query results to the query results folder, which is the default, then you'll be able to see them there, but you can't code to that node and you can't uncode. So if you want to be able to clean up your nodes, you should save them to your code hierarchy just like we just did.